start us off, after analyzing the scene carefully, my first observation would be that this is an extremely unrealistic clustering of tornadoes, and the likelihood of so many tornadoes forming at the same time like this is nearly impossible, especially in a region like India that rarely ever sees tornadoes. My second observation is that strong tornadoes come from supercell thunderstorms, but almost always appear as just one tornado. And multi-cell thunderstorms can support more than one tornado, but the coordination shown in the video shown between the tornadoes is just not possible. And next is that tornado formation requires very specific conditions, things such as wind shear, even atmospheric instability. And having this many tornadoes, specifically in this close proximity to each other, is not possible. Whereas if you have instances of twin tornadoes, those tornadoes are still hundreds of meters apart. So while Geostorm makes this a thrilling scene, the tornado swarm shown in this video is just simply impossible. And the reality is that tornadoes, even twin tornadoes that rarely ever occur, form under very specific conditions. And the movie greatly exaggerates these, and it's just for dramatic effect.
In this scene, we see a massive tsunami hit Dubai, and is a tsunami of this size actually possible? Hypothetically, yes and no, and it would take some ridiculous event for this to happen. Dubai doesn't get tsunamis to the same degree as places like Hawaii or Japan, and this is because Dubai is an island and the nearest largest body of water is the Persian Gulf, which is too shallow and has a record of being very quiet geologically. To actually create a wave of this size, we need to see a volcanic island like Hawaii or Japan completely sink into the ocean, creating so much water displacement that it could create a wave of that size. Now, Dubai isn't near any volcanic islands, so for a wave like this to actually happen in Dubai is impossible, but it is theoretically possible, but highly improbable, in other places around the world.
In the movie Geostorm, a satellite creates a concentrated death beam that rapidly heats cities from space. In reality, this would never happen. Satellites simply cannot generate or focus enough energy to raise the temperature of an entire city in seconds. The amount of power required would be comparable to the sun itself, and space based systems don't have a way to deliver that much heat through the atmosphere without dispersing it. Ironically, the sun already shows us what real heating looks like. If the sun were even slightly closer to Earth, global temperatures would increase dramatically. Ice caps would melt, oceans would begin to evaporate, and the planet would ultimately become uninhabitable. Earth survives because it sits at a very precise distance from the sun.
Now we're on to the Rio de Janeiro cold front scene. To figure out how realistic this sudden cold front is, we're going to use observable data from the scene to calculate how cold the air actually is. In the scene, we can see multiple people being frozen solid in less than 2 seconds. We'll assume these humans are roughly 70 kilograms, and since humans are 60% water, we need to calculate how cold it would have to be to freeze 40 kilograms of water from 37 degrees Celsius, which is the temperature of the average human, to below 0 degrees Celsius, which is the freezing point of water. We know the specific heat of water is 4,186 joules per kilogram. We get that it takes 6.2 million joules of energy to cool the water, and then another 13.8 million joules to freeze the water. So it'll take roughly 20 million joules of energy to freeze the water in total. Then we calculate how much power it would take to move 20 million joules in 2 seconds. This is roughly 10 million watts. We assume the area of a human is 2 meters squared, and assume that the conductive heat transfer in this area has a generous value of 300. And we get that the temperature of the air must have been around negative 16,000 degrees Celsius, which is impossible. So not only is the scene unrealistic, it's actually impossible.
This situation, while so fictitious, is a little bit more rooted in reality than the other scenes we've seen so far. For instance, in 2018, in a town outside of Boston called Merrimack, a gas line explosion damaged 130 plus homes and killed one person. This led to an investigation on why these pipes were so hot, which caused the explosion. This scene in this situation is not unlike what happened in Merrimack in 2018. However, it still is out of proportion and most likely could not happen.